Josh Moore, owner of Alpha Evolution here in Newark, along with my co-host as always, Clark Morgan. You are tuned in to Alpha Unleashed episode
3. Special edition episode.
It is kind of a special edition.
We're downstairs.
We are downstairs.
Empty gym.
New studio for the time being.
Yeah, gym's closed.
Yeah, so most of you are experiencing the coronavirus pandemic, epidemic, outbreak, closure, whatever you want to call it right now, and we are no different. We are not special, as our gym wall says.
Yeah.
We're shut down too. So we figured it'd just be a good time to bang out some content for you guys. So
Give you at least something to watch.
Yeah, you can
while you're sitting around, binge watch the
you can binge watch us.
The podcast.
Who needs Netflix when you have us? Am I right or am I right?
Alpha Unleashed and chill.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's a shortage on tissue paper right now, so please hold the lotion. But yeah, we're just going to get right into it. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and everything in between that's come with the coronavirus, because there is some good stuff that's come from it. There is a lot of bad, but
I want to start with the big question, because this is going to be the big one, and I've already seen that you've gotten it, and I've already gotten it, and so what is this meaning for the gym? You know what I mean? And I think, I know you and I have already talked about it. Maybe explain what you've done and maybe why you're not so concerned as other people are because of your gym and the backup plans that you've had and so on and so forth.
5 years ago, I'd have been losing my shit right now.
Yeah, and your blue carpet.
My wife actually mentioned to me how she was shocked I wasn't spiraling downward. Because, I do deal with, anxiety and depression. And, but, I've handled this. I've actually kind of shocked myself. I've handled it. I can't control it.
Handled it well.
What the fuck can I do?
Right.
Everyone's shut down.
Yeah.
It's not like it just hit me. It hit everybody.
Yeah.
So, a couple months ago, I kind of quit buying equipment. I did buy a new bar, but I passed up on an elliptical, a new dumbbell set, a stair stepper, all these things that I've wanted and felt like the gym needed. But for whatever reason, usually I'm a free spender. Anyone knows me, that's how it keeps getting nicer. I just keep buying stuff. I just kind of put the brakes on spending and was like, I'm just going to put money in savings. And fortunately, I was smart enough to do that. So that, created a nice little, safety net in case shit hit the fan, and well, here we are.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, none of my members have canceled memberships, so shout out to you guys.
Yeah, big time.
I've been getting messages every day from people telling me, hey, keep charging me, I'm not canceling, and that's rad.
I think that's dope.
As a business owner, so I'm actually going to do something for you guys. I haven't announced that yet, but trust me.
I think it's cool just how how willing people have been to go ahead and support small business in the area, and not just that, but the way that a lot of small businesses have
helped the community,
reciprocated that. Yeah, because and it's weird because I know that this is a town that people don't typically pour money into small business.
Yeah.
Necessarily, but it's gnarly to see the way that's working out and the way that's going, back and forth. And
it reminds me, the last time I can remember this type of community outreach and helping one another was 9/11. I was in high school when that happened, and literally I remember people just becoming friends.
Yeah.
And I think over the last, it's almost been 20 years now, 2001, so 19 years. I think that kind of got lost in transition.
Yeah.
People just kind of, social media distanced people.
Yeah.
It did. And I think social media right now is, I'm even kind of guilty of it. Some of the stuff I've posted, I've taken a lot of it down just because I sat back and I was like, man, I'm kind of spreading fear. No matter what my beliefs or views are, it's
right.
It's still kind of spreading fear.
Well,
so I think social media it's a good platform, but it's also a bad platform.
Yeah, and it's funny too because I think about, I know you're always going to have your instances, and you see that in your situations Okay, yeah, there have been a couple toilet paper fights at Costco's and Walmart across the world, and so on and so forth, and those things happen. But one thing that I notice, where it's different, it's like I go to Kroger, and pretty much everybody's in there joking around, messing around. It's just finding light in the situation, not making fun of what's happening, but finding light in the situation. It's like one point I walked down the canned food aisle and I just started cracking up, and so then this lady behind me started cracking up, and I'm like, well, there's tomatoes left, and then everybody started laughing.
I mean,
and then
what else can you do at this point?
Exactly, but it's just cool to see people, not go out and do what they got to do. It's like when we were at the grocery store when everybody was there a few days ago getting stuff. You didn't have a bunch of people with their head downs and middle fingers up just trying to, and
yeah.
I mean, you had some of that, but it's weird because when you see people out in our community forum at the extent that we were, which is still kind of weird to me, where we shouldn't have had so many people around each other, but yet everybody's at the store. But
you're not practicing social distancing.
But it's like it's cool to like realize how people act and how people probably acted before when you didn't have the internet to be that wedge.
Well, that I think too is you're not seeing it's kind of funny. Like if you watch the news, you're not seeing the fear spread as much as like people hating each other. Now it's the virus is going to wipe us out. But I'm just here to tell you, I've lived through the HIV epidemic, SARS, MERS, West Nile, Ebola, bird flu. We're still here. And my grandma told me the greatest quote ever during the Mayan calendar, like when that was going to end the world. And I literally, I still use it today. And she literally told me, the world ends for people every day.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that is a great way to live.
Yeah.
Like, it just is.
Well, and the other thing, too, it's like, I think it's kind of like you said, it's like, what else can you do but find light in the situation? It's not like we're not taking precautions and that we're not going, it's like, this is the only time I've left my house is to be here in a gym that you've sanitized the shit out of.
That's shut down.
And it's us, and that's it. And I think... and
we're not even working out.
Right.
We're filming podcasts and content.
Just to, but outside of that, I didn't leave my house yesterday and I got everything I need, but it's definitely different, but I think what's nice is a lot of people are understanding that we're a little bit past the aspect of, oh my God, no job, and we're now kind of moving into, all right, we're going to figure this out.
I honestly think
because my initial
we need this. It's a society reset. It's a social reset.
My initial reaction, I mean, when I was in here, when
you found out you couldn't umpire,
right?
Season's over.
Exactly, and there goes my job.
You knew exactly how much money you were losing.
Right, and not only that, but here was my chance to get better this year. I was going to be working in front of and for people that would help me move in my career and so on and so forth, and that lasted for about 48 hours, and then the selfishness kind of trickled its way out of my brain as soon as I realized, like, this is not just me, this is not just sports officials, this is not everybody, and then it was you, and it was like, okay,
Yeah, so the hardest time I've had with it is when I had to make the video announcing that we were shut down. Because April marks 5 years. Yeah. And we've never, one time we were shut down, and that was really only for like 48 hours. That's because I tore the gym apart and put it back together. But we've never shut down, and this thing is like, it's kind of like a cockroach in a nuclear war. Like, it survives everything. Yeah. Like, I think
we talked about that.
We just survive.
Yeah, like episode 1, I think.
Yeah.
You were like, there was no point there, this place shouldn't be here still.
Yeah, like, we just survive.
Yeah.
So, when I had to make that video, for me, it was like, it was disappointing, and it was like heartbreaking, because not only did I feel like, shit, we're shut down. Yeah. But I also felt like I let my members down, because I've never let them down. Yeah. Like, no matter what. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, like, I'm the captain of the ship. Like, I'm not the entire crew, but like I steer it. And I just thought, fuck, I let everyone down. And it's out of my hands. Like, there's nothing I can do.
Right. It's not even your
And like, the amount of people that have been hitting me up, like, hey, are you guys open? No, we're closed. Like, we're no different.
I think people are under the impression that because you're not a commercialized or franchise.
Yeah, but like we're like separated.
You're just going to be able to keep the doors open, but it's not the case.
I pay taxes. I'm just like, I have to listen to all the, whatever comes my way, I have to listen to it.
This was a gym speakeasy, that might be a different story, but.
Yeah. So, other ways like I was kind of prepared is the week of like the announcement about the coronavirus and like when they started closing schools and yada yada yada. The first day stocks dipped. I pulled my money out of the stock market. Yeah. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, that's dumb." Look, I don't have millions in the stocks. So, like if you have millions of dollars, yeah, you're going to take a hit, but it's going to come back at some point. If you're like me, I had a nest on there. I didn't have a ton, but I pulled that shit out, and like the next 3 days, it dropped like 8%. And I was just thinking, like, damn, that's 24% of my money that would have been gone.
Yeah.
So luckily, like, I pulled it out, and like I have it just chilling on top of my savings. So like, if shit, I mean, I got enough. I could probably float the gym 5 months.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and I don't think we're going to be down that long. I'm expecting to be down till May. Yeah. I think May's I think I've seen some that say like June, July, but I think May. I think
by that point, the way things are going,
it's going to be trending downward.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think it is a little wild how fast things happen, and I think that's a part of why at one point we're in a state of panic. And kind of like you said, I think everything's getting normalized now, and I know we had a conversation earlier about how they're slowly chipping away things. Yeah,
they're just
and it's going to become normalized. And I think some people are really worried about that. I'm not that worried about that. Like the reality of it is, we have an issue. We got to figure it out, and if this is how we figure it out, and everybody's doing the same thing, like I think we're going to be all right.
Another great thing it's shown every weakness in our system.
Yeah.
The fact that we have 1 million hospital beds in a country that has 317 million people is absolutely asinine. Like, how's there not more beds? Like, that's a problem. How's there not more hospitals? That's a problem. Like, we need to fix this shit now.
Right.
Because this isn't the last epidemic we're going to experience. Like, there's more coming. This isn't it. But if they don't fix some of the issues now, there are going to be issues in the future. They keep using the chart from like 1918, and at first I'm like, I hope we advance in 100 years, but I think they're using that to show like, listen, this is what they didn't do. We had better do that. So now I hope they use all the information today that like we didn't do or didn't have. Like we better have that for the next one. Like, there better be more hospital beds, more respirators, like, whatever the case may be. Like, we're one of the greatest countries in the world, and we're struggling. Like, just absolutely, people are just freaking the fuck out. And it's like, take a breath. We're going to get through it. It's going to be okay. Like, will people die? People die every day. I mean, it's a terrible way to look at it, but people die every day.
I mean,
It is. We'll get through it. They're doing everything they can to slow the spreading down. And I just think that's the good that's coming from it is it's forcing people to understand that like we're not as prepared as we think we are. That's why there was mad rushes for toilet paper. Like people were just freaking out because they thought, oh shit, we're not gonna have any toilet paper. Like we're gonna have toilet paper.
Well, and I think it shows. I think it almost shows where people's heads are at too, where. Maybe this is a little bit of a reality check, and hopefully some of the people that are sitting there with 1,500 rolls of toilet paper realizing, okay, if we really did get shut down, I'm not going to have any food.
Yeah, what my first response was when I heard that they were going to close schools down. I literally messaged my wife. I have the screenshots. 3:40. I was sitting in the line to get my kid out of school. He gets out at 3:45. My first response was, I'm going to make sure kids eat. And she was like, how are you going to do that? And I just said, I don't know. I'll figure it out. And we had a powerlifting meet coming up that week, and I was like, hey, I'm just going to donate all the money. We're going to buy food. It's not much. Like, it's not, I mean, it's a thing of, it's like dust in the wind in the grand scheme of things. But it's like, hey, if I can do that, then you do that. Then, just like the coronavirus spreading. If I spread my charitable actions to 3 people, and then they spread to 3 people, well, suddenly it went from 1 to 4 to like 13 people. In a matter, like, that's how, and I don't.
Well, and you see how fast you see how fast that kind of stuff blew up? You know, again, going back to the local businesses, how many people we have now that are, how many places, I mean, we have now that are giving out free meals and giving out meals to kids.
But the flip side is, it shouldn't take an epidemic like of this level.
No, you're right.
For the community outpour to be like that.
No, you're right. You're right.
So if you're listening to this and like you're not doing anything to help, just help all the time. I mean, we have a major homeless issue in this country. There's kids not eating in this country. Like,
I think it's unfortunate that,
I think
the unfortunate reality of it is, and I'm not going to act like I'm not guilty of not doing as much as I could myself, because I am. But you know, it's like, it's one of those things where you hope it sticks around when this all blows over.
Yeah.
And
it did for like 9/11. Like, everyone was like showing patriotism and like they're proud to be Americans, and like that's kind of frowned upon now. But like, it did stick around for a while, and then it just slowly, because people, they lose it in their minds and they just get back to normal life, and you know,
I mean, it's the same with people who don't have a gym right now, and they're like, oh, I need a place to work out, and then once this is all over, I'm sure you're not going to be able to walk in this place
for a week or two,
and it's going to slowly trickle out, and then eventually it's going to be back to
normal.
Our morning crew, our afternoon crew, and our night crew,
but
you know,
I do hope that like people stick with like I'm huge on charity. Like, I mean, I remember Salvation Army bringing Christmas to my house, man. Like, I'm not from money. I'm not rich. I've never been rich, but like my kids have never had to experience that. So like when we get done with this and we leave, I'm taking my oldest and we're gonna go donate some food. Like, he's gonna experience like what it's like to do that, just because he's never had to experience not having that. I mean, he's got fucking Yeezys on his feet right now. Like, just because his parents are able to provide those type of things for him. Whereas when I was a kid, I remember my mom sitting across the table not eating while me and my little sister ate spaghetti with no sauce. Like, it's real shit. Like, I don't say this stuff to kind of like, oh, look how far I've come. No, I say this stuff like to remind myself of where the fuck I've been. Like, to keep me grounded.
Yeah.
Because there's times like when the bank's not empty, and I'm like, shit. My wife's like, you still haven't made it. Like, all the time she's like, you know, she's like she, I don't think she comes out right and tells me that, but little like subtle things she says like kind of like grounds me. But like in the back of my head, I do remember, you know, cereal with water, eating ramen noodles, because hell, you can't find ramen noodles right now, but just eating ramen noodles. I mean, there's a lot of things like I experienced, and I think that plays into why I am like the way I am. Like, my first response being, I'm going to make sure kids eat. Mm-hmm. Like, I know my kids are good. Like, we got food at the house. Like, they're good. It's other kids I worry about. Like, I'm the dude that's driving my kid to school, watching other little kids walk, and I want to stop and give them a ride, but it's like frowned upon. So instead, I just kind of slow down and watch them in my rearview mirror. Like, I do that every day. I know I do. I do it every day. Like, I'll just watch like kids walking, just to make sure like the paranoia of like someone yanking them up. Like,
right.
But like, I still do. Like, I just kind of watch out for kids, and it's like, that's probably like my softest spot is kids. And then probably next is like, you know, probably homeless. Like, people fall in hard times. And I think right now, a lot of people are about to fall in some hard times. So now more than ever, it's time to rally up the troops and kind of, you know, come together. And hopefully it does last, because like I said probably 10 minutes ago, this isn't the last time. There's going to be something else, whether it's a earthquake, more fires in California, whatever it is. Like, there's going to be something that comes, and it's just how do you respond to it?
Yeah.
And right now, I think the bad that it's showing, because there is bad, the bad that it's showing is people's greed.
Yeah.
Like the great toilet paper shortage of 2020. Like,
well, and I think and I think about that, and I think, you know, people, you know, you look at people like, you know, you look at like your amateur doomsday preppers, and don't, I understand always, you know, wanting to be prepared and this, that, and the other, but it's like you said, it's like when the greed comes out, you know, those people's first instinct is, what am I going to do? And like, just imagine how smoothly things could work if something way worse than this did happen, if people were in thought about those around them. You know what I mean?
No, I do get, like, looking out for yourself first. Like, I 100% get that.
Well, sure, but I just mean...
Right, but at the same time, like, once you realize, like, okay, I don't need 20 packs of toilet paper.
Right.
Like, because at some point, it just becomes you just looking out for yourself and no one else.
Right.
And I get it. Like, I don't want to come off as like, oh, you're like totally fucked up for being that way, because everyone's that way.
I think it's
everyone's that way.
And I just wonder, you know, it's like I just think about, you know, you read a lot about the way things went in the Great Depression and about how people really would, you know, say we do hit a serious financial crisis. And there were a lot of ways that people, and not all people, but a lot of ways back then that people would look out for each other. And or, you know, like when, you know, they would talk about people losing their properties or their farms, and the whole community would show up and intimidate anybody that was willing to bid on it, and bid on it for pennies and sell it back to them, you know, from the state auctions and stuff like that. And it's like, some of it, like you said, it's hard to see people in that kind of
distress
instinct right now. Well, you just, you know, it doesn't seem like there are as many people that are like, yeah, we got to figure this out for not just me.
Yeah. And if you take anything away from this podcast today, is think about helping others.
Yeah.
I mean, help yourself first. I'm not saying to not help yourself, because listen, if I didn't have any food, like, at all, and no money, like, you best believe I'm doing some shady shit to, like, provide for my kids.
Sure.
Like, I get it. I do. But if you are in a position to where you're okay, then think about helping. You know, I'm not even saying give shit away. Go check on your neighbor. Just make sure they're okay. Like, if you have an elderly neighbor, just go check on them. You don't have to open the door. Just knock and be like, hey, are you good in there? Like, call your grandma. I've called my grandma. I mean, it's kind of sad to say, but, like, I've called my grandma more in the last week than I probably have the last 2 months. Like, just to check on her, because she's 85 years old and she lives by herself in, like, she lives by herself in a senior home. But I'm just like, you know, I've probably talked to my neighbors more than I have ever. Like, shit like this still restores faith in humanity for me. Yeah. Even when humanity's going through a crisis. Like, that's the craziest thing. Yeah. Like, all the members reaching out to me like, hey, don't cancel my membership. Hey. Yeah. Like, that restores so much faith, because as a business owner, you start to lose faith in humanity. Sure. You really do. Like, it's tough. Yeah, and I think just, like, being the person I am, like, I put myself out there so much that I interact with people. So, like, a lot of times, like, I see, like, just how fucked people can be. But right now, I'm seeing how good people can be. And I just want to see more of that. Like, so yeah, just, if you take anything away, shut up. Our tablet's going off. If you hear anything out, you know, if you take anything from this, just check on your neighbors, check on your grandma, check on your parents. Like, just, in the grand scheme, I think it's kind of showing people that the shit that we stress about on a day-to-day basis and the grudges we hold really aren't. They're bullshit. Yeah. They are. Yeah. It's just bullshit.
It's not worth it.
It's not. Because,
never is.
No. Because, you know, it's all going to be gone at one point for all of us. So, you know, you can just...
World ends for somebody every day.
That's what my grandma says.
Yeah. So that's a good point. But
yeah. So we'll take a break, and then we'll come back.
Or we can wrap this one up. It's up to you. Start another one. Okay. Yeah, so you might see episode 4 in the same outfits because we're going to shoot it.
It's because we're quarantined in this gym, and
we're locked in here. We haven't showered in 3 months.
We have no heat.
No heat.
No water.
Yeah.
No freaking pre-workout.
I got pre-workout.
We got pre-workout. Yeah. We'll just take it dry. Kind of Clark does anyways. See you guys!